Babashuaib, the correctional officer, born in Accra, Ghana, a Quranic researcher and a critical thinker based on religion, who does online lectures based on the guidance of the Quran on platforms such as Facebook, YouTube and TikTok since 2018. In Finland, and 13 years, QBE, in Classical Arabic and MSA in Quranic Arabic. The author of the Refer to the Quran, which helps every novice to understand the steps towards understanding the Great Quran and the guidance of God in it. Baba Shuaib, the correctional officer, born in Accra, Ghana, a Quranic researcher and a critical thinker based on religion, who does online lectures based on the guidance of the Quran on platforms such as Facebook, YouTube and TikTok since 2018. In Finland, and 13 years, QBE, in Classical Arabic and MSA in Quranic Arabic. The author of the Refer to the Quran, which helps every novice to understand the steps towards understanding the Great Quran and the guidance of God in it.
For the challenge, I know he will step forward. Yeah, they will not step forward. No, stepping forward is a no-go area for them. No, they will not. But hopefully, I'll get him. So before this, I played a video during the Hajj, right? People who went for the Hajj. During the Hajj, let me tell you some of the things that common sense doesn't work with, right? Reasoning and common sense doesn't work with. This is the video. Now, did you see the video I played? Unfortunately, for those on TikTok, you cannot see it. I just played it, and those on Facebook and YouTube, they can see it, right? Now, did you see what just happened? This is during the Hajj, right? These same people segregate men and women in the masjid. They segregate and put men in front and women behind during salat. What is the reason? They say because they don't have to mingle, to avoid sexual instance and so on, right? And to avoid the squeezing and whatever. Because you know, when men have to squeeze women, they have places to squeeze. Good. Now, and when it comes to the idol worship, when going to touch their idol, the black stone, which the Quran made no reference of, the black stone, they go to kiss it without any sanitizer. I don't know how much they sanitize it, but it is because of that black stone that lady was shouting. You know, when you want to catch a mouse, like mice, right? You want to catch a mouse. There's a kind of sound they make when they are in danger. Meow, meow. That's how she was squeaking. She was squeaking. Now, this is where logic doesn't work. It is during the salat, you are telling us that men and women have to be separate. They don't have to be conjoined during the salat. But when it comes to your mushrik ideology, kissing the stone, that the rules doesn't apply there. So men and women have to go together, squeeze each other. There's one day I saw, oh my God, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. When people fail to use their reasoning, this is what happens, right? Now, when I'm talking about Salam, Hannah Banana, yes, I was about to mention you. You are here. Thank you. When people fail to use their reasoning, right, this is how they become. We call them shippo. Now, imagine in that situation, you, the lady, you find yourself, and now you are squeaking. Who is going to help you? Tell me, who? Who do you want to come down? Is it a Superman you want? Or who? Spider-Man or Iron Man to just come out of nowhere and rescue you? Seriously? Hey! Now, these things, they all happen because people don't want to follow what God says. And that is why all these things happen. Nobody has the right frame of mind to actually question, is this even worth it? Do I need to go to kiss a stone? But they have been bamboozled and told that when you kiss the stone, you are going to Jannah. It is the only time something black in the Hadith book has prominence. You watched my lecture last week, right? This is the only time something black in the Hadith books has like importance. Black stone. And they say it comes from paradise. Any other thing which is black in the Hadith is kaput. The black dog is devil. The black people, according to the Hadith, they are going to hell. Anything black in the Hadith is not good. No, I'm serious. Anything black. So it is the only time the black stone actually is dominating. Hey. Anyways, so away with this that issue, because it is based on ignorance. They are doing that. If had they know of anything sensible, they wouldn't do that, right? So that is where the problem is, right? So after that, I played a video mainly focused on Muhammad hijab, right? Mainly focused on Muhammad hijab. That the video. Let me tackle that video before I go to the main topic, right? So let me tackle that part. This is what Muhammad hijab said. For those who watched from the beginning, you heard it, right? I played it 2 times. Let me play it again. Then pay attention. Pay close attention to what Muhammad hijab was saying. It's about Christians and Jews. Now, listen for those of you in the European countries who allow this kind of bozos to take the mantle in your countries. Now, listen carefully.
Reason why you have to fight them is because they are Jews and Christians. You should fight those empires around you, or those hukumat around you, which are Jew or Christian, until they give the jizya. That's fine. That we already know Islam allows. And then the howness of that is in the hadith. The three options that they're given: either you give the jizya, or you do this, or you do that. We're not apologetic about that point. That is truth. Your religion has to have an expansionist element. So then therefore there is no situation or conceivability of peace being made between Muslims and non-Muslims. Islam is a warrior religion in many ways, and it's unapologetically so. It's about expansion, it's about conquest and so on.
Now, legally, when Muslims live in places like Britain, for example, which feel legally we would classify Britain as Darul Harb, right? Which is, if you translate it, it's abode of war.
The kuffar from Dar al-Harb, there can never be a permanent treaty with the kuffar because it cancels out jihad. It can't be forever. When Muslims get stronger and it's a benefit for the Muslims, they inform the enemy, this treaty has come.
You have to fight them is because they are Jews and Christians. You should fight those empires around you, or those hukumat around you, which are Jew or Christian.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention, close attention to this video. He's saying the reason why you should fight this hukumat, those people in charge, because they are Jews and Christians. So you have to fight them. I'll make a conclusion on this statement, but you listen carefully.
Until they give the jizya.
Until they give the jizya, which is a wrong interpretation of Quran chapter 9, verse 29. I have a video on it, right? If you want to know where I gave the explanation to that verse, or the right understanding to that verse, try to watch my video, which is the Sunni Mushriks. The title is the Sunni Mushriks. You go to my YouTube playlist, right? Go to my YouTube playlist and then look for the live lectures. Then you look for the title, the Sunni Mushriks. So under that title, Sunni Mushriks, you find that video I spoke about, and you check in the time code. The time code gives you the reference number. I'll be trimming that video very soon to put it in a scope where you can have it directly, right? I'll be trimming it to share it on YouTube very soon. But these people they isolate verses. These are the people God is talking when you harifun al-kalima anil mawadi or an mawadi. These people, they do that, right? The Jews have done it, and these same mushriks, they do that, right? They twist words out of its places or their places. Exactly these people. And so they just take one bite of verse and then pass on judgment, right? They leave context out. That is it. Now, so if any Christian or Jew is listening to this, and you have a person like Mohammed Hijab, the Oxford bozo, in your country, and he's saying such things, and you still give relevance to this kind of people, there's something is wrong with you. I'm serious. Now, listen.
That's fine. That we already know Islam allows. And then
he goes to the extent he says that we already know Islam allows. And then what hurts me the most is when a lot of these ignorant Christians and so on are listening to people like this, and then they give credence to what he is saying, that yes, this is what Islam actually propagates and preach. That is not the context of how it works. The Quran cannot tell you that do not be an aggressor and then go ahead and tell you to aggress against people. How? No, let it make sense. Quran chapter 2 verse 190. Quran doesn't want you to be the aggressor. It is only when you are attacked. Now, how can somebody who offers you peace and you are telling him he's a kafir? Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you the verse. In Quran chapter 4, verse 94. I'm going to show you this verse on the screen, right? Let me share this. Quran chapter 4, verse 94. This is the verse on the screen. It says, O you who believe, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, iza darabtum fi sabilillahi fatabayyanu. It says, O you who have believed, whenever you strike in the way of God, then what? Ascertain. You have to ascertain, be sure, investigate. Right? Then it says, Wala taqulu liman alka ilaykumul salama lasta mu'mina. O you who have believed, whenever you strike or you travel in the way of God, right? Then ascertain and do not say to one who offers you peace, you are not a believer. Do not do that. Like countries like Europe, like Britain, UK, and so on, will give you the mushrik asylum, will allow you to come into their country, grant you asylum. And they know you are a mushrik. No, you are not a Muslim. No, they know you are a mushrik. They allowed you. They say, come, practice your religion. We don't have any issue with you. Just live freely. And they give you social welfare. You give birth to kids. They take care of your kids. They give your kids education. They don't stop you from practicing your Islam, your mushrik Islam, not real Islam, not the mushrik Islam. They don't stop you. Then all of a sudden, because you've gained prominence, then you start tagging the same people who gave you the freedom of your religion. You said they are kuffar. Like, let it make sense. You said they are kuffar. Are you in your right senses? Then God is saying, seeking the exhibition of the worldly life, for with God are much spoils. You were like that before, and God favored you. So ascertain, that is, investigate. Indeed, God is conversant with what you do. Do you see how God is cautioning here? And to top it all, you the one tagging the Jews and the Christians as kuffar. Are you not a mushrik? Which one is worse? No, which one is worse? I'm serious. Which one is worse? If they are actually rejecting you and your religion, will they even allow you to come into their country? Will they even give you asylum? Because the first thing they will do is say, this is a Muslim, I reject. Just like Donald Trump did some time ago. Muslim country banned from US. Yeah, I like what he did. Because he didn't ban real Muslim country. He banned mushrik countries from coming. That I agree that time. I'm serious. So let's listen to the Oxford Bozo.
Howness of that is in the Hadith.
Do you see? Listen to what he said.
You already know Islam allows, and then
We already know Islam allows. So he is saying Islam allows that to happen, right? But then the howness of that, listen what he said.
how the howness of that is in the Hadith.
The howness of that Islam allows that to happen, the howness of that is in the Hadith, not in the Quran. It is in the mushrik books they have, not in the Quran. Why will God exhort you to aggress? Why will God do that? I just read Quran chapter 4 verse 94. Do you see God, the wisdom of God? Do you see the wise book, Quran al-Hakim? Did you see what God was telling you? Do not say to the one who offers you peace that you are not a believer. Because if he's not a believer, why will he even give you safety? Why will he grant you asylum? Why will he give you the same shelter and the clothing he has and you also have it? Why would he do that? Tell me. Why? Why will he even give you the chance to build your mosques? And to the extent you guys are even fighting for Sharia law in UK. You say Sharia law. Hey, which Sharia law? That mushrik this thing books you have, they should allow you to bring it into UK. Well, I don't blame you. I blame the whites for allowing that nonsense to even take place. I'm serious.
The three the three options that they're given: either you give the jizya, or you do this, or you do that.
Either you give the jizya and you give. Who gives this guy, this bozo, who gives him a mantle to speak about Islam? I don't understand. And not about Islam. Yeah. What disturbs me is people think this guy represents Islam. That is my only problem. But who gives such a bozo? Is it because Oxford graduate? Maybe. Yeah, I think so. Because Oxford, the Western academia has helped people like this to be the mouthpiece of the mushriks. Because this guy cannot represent Islam. I'm serious. No. A person like Mohammed Hijab can never, ever represent Islam. So you give this kind of person the platforms like P.S. Morgan and to meet all the prominents like people like Jordan Peterson and so on. And you think this guy is making sense because he faced David Wood. Oh my God.
Yeah, we're not apologetic about that point.
We are not apologetic about that point. That is Mohammed Hijab.
That is truth. If your religion has to have an expansionist element, so then therefore there is no situation or conceivability of peace being made between Muslims and non-Muslims. Islam is
what? That has this guy ever read Surah At-Tawbah? The baratu that God gave, that is the pact, that God gave between the disbelievers and the believers. Was it not a pact of peace? Is it not a peace treaty? What are these guys preaching to the people? Hey, salam, brother Hamza Malik. You're welcome. Salam to you, brother. What are these people preaching to the people or teaching the people? What is it exactly? There's no treaty or there's no peace. Let me repeat that part. Listen to what he said.
So then therefore there is no situation or conceivability of peace being made between Muslims and non-Muslims. Islam.
Hello. There's no peace between non-Muslims and Muslims. So they allow you to come to their country to have free food, free education, have a better life, drive expensive car. And you go ahead to say what? There's no what? What?
So then therefore there is no situation or conceivability of peace being made between Muslims and non-Muslims. Islam is a warrior religion.
He goes ahead to say Islam is a warrior religion. Hey, Allah, these bozos, eh?
Many ways, and it's unapologetic.
He says, so Islam is a warrior religion in many ways, and it is unapologetically so. No, not the Islam of the Quran. This is the Islam of the Hadith, which you said it earlier.
Basically, so it's about expansion.
It's about expansion. It's about conquest, and so on. Really? Really?
Conquest and so on.
Is he aware that Islam never started with Prophet Muhammad? Is Muhammad Hijab aware of that? Or is he part of the bozos who actually think Islam started in the 7th century? Because it's about the submission. Submission to God never started with Muhammad. And Ibrahim. And even Ibrahim was not the first to start Islam. Prophets were there before him. There have been Noah, there is Hud, there is Saleh. You mentioned them. Prophets existed before even Abraham came. But it's just that the principles that Abraham laid down was in line with what God wanted us to do. And that is why God asked us to follow the Millata Ibrahim, because God made him a leader. Quran chapter 2, verse 124. God chose him as an imam for mankind. And that's why we are asked to follow his footsteps, like his creed. Do you get my point? Okay. So now, if you are thinking Islam, which is an Arabic word, which actually means submission. So in the Quran, what God gave us is al-Islam, which is the submission, which is an action that you have to do in order to get a connection with God. So you submit to the will of God. And that is why he has stipulated instructions for you to abide by it. It tells you, do this, don't do this, say this, don't say this. You understand? Act like this, don't act like this. So then in a nutshell, we say this is the way of life that God wants us to live. Simple. And that is why God went ahead to tell us that he had created us as nations and tribes, and the most honorable of us is the what? The pious of us. Inna akramakum indallah atqakum. The most honorable of us is the most pious, is the one who is pious among us. Do you get my point? But when you listen to this Oxford bozos, this is the kind of the man-made version of Islam they will give you. Because why am I saying that? Look, let me show you something that people usually don't know about. In Quran chapter 49, verse 16, listen what God says. I put this on the screen. Check what God says in Quran chapter 49, verse 16. So God says, say, Kul atu'allimuna Allah bidinikum. Atu'allimuna Allah bidinikum. Say, are you teaching God about your religion? Or your doctrine? Or your faith? Or your way of life? Are you the one going to teach God that? You. No. You can't teach God. All-knowing, omniscient. How can you teach God? So rather, it has to be vice versa. This is how it has to work. So it is. Wallahu ya'lamu ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard. Wallahu bi kulli shay'in alim. Is he the one you are going to teach your deen? So God says, are you teaching God about your religion while he knows whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on earth? And God is aware of all things. Are you going to teach him your religion? Because Quran chapter 3 verse 19, God says, Inna dina inda lahil al-Islam. The deen, which is with God, is the submission. So you have to submit to the will of God. So that is why, look, let me show you into context. When you read Quran chapter 3 verse 19, check something important here. I'm going to show you something important. Quran chapter 3 verse 19, I'm going to read up to verse 20. Then you see the connection there. In Quran chapter 3, verse 19, God says, Inna dina indallahi al-Islam. The Islam you are seeing out there is the man-made version of Islam. The al-Islam, which is a definite article, is the submission with God. So there's a difference. Now listen. So God says, indeed, the religion, the deen with God is the what? Submission. Al-Islam. Al-Islam. And those who were given the book did not differ except after what had come to them of knowledge, or of the knowledge, out of injustice between them. And whoever disbelieves in the verses of God, listen, then indeed God is swift in what? In reckoning. Now check the context to verse 20. Then God says, so if they argue with you, who are those? Those who already know religion is all about submission to God, or the way of life we have is about submitting to God, or the doctrine we are supposed to follow is about submitting to God. The Jews, the Christians, the whoever, they know that. If you go to James chapter 4, verse 7, what is he telling you? In a Christian watching me, go to your Bible, read James chapter 4, verse 7, and read. It's telling you, submit yourself to God and flee from the devil, or forsake the devil. So you are submitting to God. That is the main concept of life that God has ever given us to do. It's about submission. It started even with Adam. You have to submit to God. He gave you instructions. Simply submit and show your and surrender to what he has instructed you. Verse 20. So if they argue with you, then it's a singular pronoun, which is referring to the prophet at that time, right? And again, people can argue with you also. Then say, I have submitted, aslamtu, my aim to God. It's about your focus, your aim, your objective has to be for God. Then it says, and so have those who follow me, right? Then he says, and say to those who were given the book and the what? Unlearned ummiyuna. The unlearned ummiyina, have you submitted? And if they have submitted, then they are indeed guided. Those who were given the book before, if only they will submit to the will of God, as they keep saying in their Bible, the will of my Father, the will of the Father, the will of... Yes, are you going to do the will of the Father? Forget about what Paul says. Forget about what anybody says, or your whatever, your Peter, forget about what they say. Are you going to do with the will of the Father? Are you going to do it? If they submit, then they are guided. Because even Jesus is telling you, not the one who calls him Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, unless the ones who does the will of the Father above. Right? Okay. So now, and if they are submitted, then they are guided. But if they turn away, then only the notification is upon you, the messenger. And God is cognizant of the servants. That's the objective of life. You just submit to the will of God and do what God wants you to do. Simple. Right? Okay. Now let's go back.
When Muslims live in places like Britain, for example, which feel legally we would classify Britain as Darul Harb, right?
Legally. Legally. Huh? Legally, according to whose law? The Hadith books. Legally, you consider Britain as Dar al-Harb. Hey! The house of war. Okay.
Which is, if you translate it, it's a board of war.
The kuffar from Dar al-Harb, there can never be a permanent treaty with the kuffar.
It says there can never be a permanent treaty with the kuffar. After these people, the Western world giving you all the education you need, the better lives and everything, you now take your mantle and spew nonsense. Hey.
because it cancels out.
These mushriks, they are lucky I'm not King Solomon. Oh. If God has given me the kind of power he gave to Suleiman, wallahi, I'm serious. Muhammad Hijab will be talking on live program. How the slaps I will make the jeans give him, eh? And people like this. Hey, you are lucky. Babashuaib wasn't at the time of Suleiman to even get the share of that kingdom.
Jihad, it can't be forever. When Muslims get stronger and it's a benefit for the Muslims, they inform the enemy, this treaty has come.
Do you see how they are telling you their plans? That the moment Muslims get dominance and they get stronger, they have to cancel the treaty and tell the kafirs and the whatever, hey, you know, now we are in charge. No treaty has come to an end. You have to do what we say. They are literally telling you their plans. And then you are still giving these bozos the chance to dominate your countries. Hey! Oh, you are. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't understand that there is this misunderstanding people take from the Quran, thinking that Quran is against people around you. No, I'm going to show you the evidence, right? Quran is not against people around you. So I'm going to give you some of the evidence so that you understand that what these bozos are saying has nothing to do with the Quran, but rather they are taking it from the Hadith books. So let's go. So first evidence, I take you to Quran chapter 60, verse 8. In Quran chapter 60, verse 8, God says, God does not forbid you from those who do not fight you because of the deen. God does not forbid you from them. Number one. So I can be in Europe. I can be with Christians, Jews, you mentioned them. You understand? God does not forbid you from those who do not fight you because of your deen. He doesn't forbid you. Number one. Number two, and do not expel you from your homes. That is number two. God doesn't forbid you from being nice to them. He doesn't forbid you from being nice to them. No, God never said don't be nice to them. Like the way these people are now in Europe, and after you get your document and your passport, your education, you start acting like the whites are the most disgusting people ever. You know, these are kafirs. What? Allah, these mushriks, they are hypocrites. Wallahi, they are the biggest hypocrites on earth. And being equitable to them, God doesn't forbid you. You have to be equitable. So far as the person doesn't fight you because of your deen, so far as they don't fight you by driving you out of your houses, well, these Europeans will give you accommodation and they will even pay your rent for you if you are jobless. I'm serious. You go ahead telling them they are kafirs. They pay the taxes to help pay your rent with your dirty asses. Indeed, God loves those who are equitable. This is the God of the Quran. He wants equity. Equitable. Now, verse 9. God only forbids you from those who fight you because of your deen. Number one. This is what God forbids you. Those who fight you because of your deen. Yes, he forbids you. And expel you from your homes. When you check the Palestine and Israel, the fight going on, it transcended from being a political fight to being a religious fight. Right? Okay. So if it transcended to be a religious fight, number one, if they are fighting them because of their deen, and number two, and they are expelling them from their homes, then God wants you to also be stern against them. Do you get my point? Okay. And assist in your eviction. Number three, you have to fight. You have to stop being also befriending such people. Because one, they are fighting you because of deen. Two, they are evicting you from your homes. Three, they are assisting other people to evict you from your homes. These three options, yes, God wants you to stop befriending such people. And God says, and whoever befriends them, then they are those who are the transgressors, because you become hypocrites. Do you get my point? Now, this is the instructions God is giving. Now, I quoted chapter 4, verse 94 earlier. You remember, right? Do not say to the one who offers you peace that you are not a believer. Don't say that to that person, because it takes matter of faith and belief to even help you, the Muslim, to have a peaceful life. Okay. Then again, sometimes people will quote verses like this. I'm going to show you something. Quran chapter 5, verse 57. People will quote verses like this. Ya ayyuhal lazina amanu la tattakhizu lazina takhazu dinakum huzwa. Then he says, walaiba min allazina utul kitab min qablikum. Then he says, wal kuffar awliya. He says, oh, you who believe, do not take those who have taken your religion in mockery and play among those who were given the book before you and the disbelievers as what? Awliya, as allies. Now, there's a reason why I underline the word allies here. It's very important. It's critical. Don't take somebody as an ally doesn't mean you shouldn't be just with them. You shouldn't be nice to them. You shouldn't be equitable with them. That's not what it means. You know what an ally is? An ally works bigger than even a normal friend. An ally is somebody who can join you to fight an enemy. That is an ally. So when we say awliya, we are talking about ally. So I'm going to show you so that you understand why God says this. Now remember, this group, they are mocking you. Is it all the Christians who are mocking you? No. Is it all the Jews who are mocking you? No. Go and check. The protests happening around the world. Even some Jews are protesting in favor of Palestine, protesting against the Zionists in Israel, that what they are doing is not right. So does that mean all Jews are condemned? No. Do you get my point? Okay. So now, those who mock your religion, no go area. Don't take them as an ally. Listen. Okay. Now I'm going to show you some verses which will make you understand why God says don't take them as allies. Okay. So now, Quran chapter 8, verse 73. Now, this is the verse on the screen. God says, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بَعْدُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْدٍ إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوهُ إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوهُ تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَفَسَادٌ كَبِيرٌ. So God says, and those who have disbelieved are allies. They are allies of each other. Unless you, the believers, unless you do such, you also have to do the same as they have done. There will be discord, that is the fitna, chaos, and on earth, and what? Big corruption. So do you see the corruption why Palestine is being attacked and the other Arab countries or so-called Islamic countries are not talking? That is the corruption we are talking about. There's a big fitna and facade. The reason is, the moment you pledge allegiance and you have an alliance with an enemy, with a kafir, there's a problem. If you are a believer, don't take a kafir as an ally. There's a difference. It doesn't mean I cannot be equitable with you. It doesn't mean I cannot be nice to you. It doesn't mean I cannot be like respectful to you. But I don't have to take you as an ally. Do you see what God is commanding us? Okay. So believers have to be allies of each other, whilst disbelievers are allies of each other. So leave the kafirs to be allies of each other. You don't go and be an ally of a kafir. It doesn't mean you hate them. No. That's not what it means. You are just not their ally. Let them be in their groups. Let them partner with each other. Don't go and partner with them. The reason is because when they are attacking your friend, you cannot speak. And that is exactly what is happening to Saudi Arabia and other Arabian countries. Because they will be attacking your friend, and you have to keep quiet because you have pledged an allegiance and you are alliance with them. So now you are scared of, hey, if I go and put my mouth now, they will hate me. So that is why a country like Israel, Palestine will be destroyed and other Islamic countries are quiet. Because they have alliance with the same kafir who is bombarding people. Do you get my point? So this is what happens when people fail to heed to the advice of God. So now listen, let's go further so that I'm show you why believers need to stick together. Now, Quran chapter 5, verse 55, and I'm going to read up to 56. Then you understand this concept here. In Quran chapter 5, verse 55, look at the group God wants you to have an alliance with. God says, Innama waliyukumullah wa rasuluhu wallazina amanu lazina yakimuna salat wa yutuna zakat wa hum raki'un. Your only, he used the word innama, which is only. Your only ally is God, as well as his messenger and those who believe, the ones who establish the salat and give the zakat and they bow down. Those are your allies. So if you are a believer, this is the group you take as an ally. You have the same objective and the same cause. Now verse 56, and whoever allies with God and his messenger and those who have believed, then indeed Hizbullah, this is a Hizbullah, the party of God are the winners. He says what? For inna Hizballahi humul galibun. If you're part of the Hizbullah, then you are the winners. Because you have a good cause. You are not going to act hypocritical. Because you are a group of believers. You have the same objective. So there is nothing hypocritical in what you do. But the moment you go and ally with a kafir, you the believer, you go and pledge an alliance with a disbeliever. If this disbeliever is attacking another believer, you cannot talk because you have an alliance with this disbeliever. So now he's attacking another believer. What are you going to say? You'll be quiet because you look like a hypocrite. And that is exactly what is happening concerning Palestine right now. So you have countries like Egypt next to them. They cannot say anything. You have Jordan. Yeah, if I talk, my other ally will not give me chop money. They will not give me. I need some money to also buy some clothing for my kids. If I talk, they will not give me. So you let them kill them. Let them kill. It's okay. It will stop by 1 month. Let them kill them for one. That is what is going on. Now, mind you, when we are talking about not taking allies among those of the people of the book, it is only those who mock you and those who fight you because of your deen. Those are not the ones you should be okay with. Those are the ones you have to not show your friendship to because they hate you because of your deen. But if they don't hate you because of your deen, there's nothing wrong. So I'm going to show you. In Quran chapter 5, verse 82. In Quran chapter 5, verse 82, God is going to tell you the difference between who hates you more and who doesn't hate you. So now here, God says, you will find that the worst of people in antagonism to those who have believed, to the believers, the worst of people who hate the believers are the Jews. The worst, among the people who hate the believers are the what? The Jews. Are you saying God doesn't know what is going on in the world? God knows very well, right? As well as those who associate others, that is the mushriks, They are the worst of antagonism against believers. So if you are a believer, and this is why the mushriks, they hate even you who say you follow the Quran for guidance. They hate you. I'm serious. And you will find that the nearest of them in friendship to those who have believed are those who say we are Christians. Does it mean I have to hate a Christian? If a Christian doesn't mock my religion, if a Christian doesn't fight me because of my religion, I don't need to hate them. I can be okay with that. I can be mutual friendship. It's not an alliance. There's a difference between alliance and I have friendship with you. Yes, we can be nice, have an equitable, nice understanding. You understand, a friendly discussion. I'll be nice to you. I'm equitable to you. I respect you, but it doesn't mean you are my ally. Neither does it mean you are my enemy. So you can see the criteria God is giving you. A Christian will rather be nice to a believer, regardless of your faith difference. He will be nice to you and respectful. And we see that happening all over the world. I use my country as an example. Go to Ghana. Muslims and Christians are having a mutual respect. It's there. Yes, it's normal. But the ones who hate Muslims, believers, you know it's there. God is telling you. The Jews, if they are killing Palestine, in their heads, they are killing Muslims and believers. This is how a Jewish person is thinking. Not all Jews. Get me right. Not all Jews, right? But most of the Jews, that fight going on against Palestine, according to some of the Jews, we are killing Muslims. That's what they understand. Okay. That is because among the Christians, there are pastors and monks among them that they are not arrogant. And we see that. Babashuaib, I know certain pastors, when they meet me, they show me respect, even though they know I'm a Muslim, but they give me the respect. We see that. Yeah. But the moment, most of the Jews, the moment they realize you are a Muslim, Habibi, bye-bye. You understand? Now, the reason why I'm talking about all these aspects has to do with people like Mohammed, Hijab, and so on, about what they talk. And people think they are representing Islam. No, they are not. If you ever think Mohammed Hijab is the face of Islam, this modern day and age, you are the biggest bozo ever to think people like Mohammed Hijab represent Islam. No, they don't. They don't at all. He's actually ignorant when it comes to Islam. I'm serious. Regardless of the Oxford you think he went. Maybe that's why you are giving him all the platforms. But now let's go to the main discussion, the bozo I want to talk about today. Let's go to the bozo for today. The bozo for today is this guy. We call him Adnan Rashid, right? Surprisingly, I actually took more time on Mohammed Hijab. But let's go on this guy. Adnan Rashid. I saw a couple of videos that somebody shared to me. So I wanted to tackle these videos, right? So let's go.
Comes to us with the news and he says Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq said this.
What if he said something nice?
No problem. Even if he said, Imam Ja'far said, plant trees, feed the poor, feed the orphans, because what do the liars do? Liars will not come and say something so stupid and erroneous that you reject it straight away. What they will do is they will mix lies with truth. That's why when you mix urine with milk, we have to reject all of it. Would you drink that milk? If I drop one drop of urine in it, you will never drink it because now it's been contaminated. The muhaddithin, our ulama, have taught us when contamination happens, you reject the whole thing. In the science of hadith, unfortunately or fortunately, you throw away the baby with the bathwater because it is a matter of your deen. You cannot take your deen from liars and untrustworthy characters.
Guys, did you hear Adnan Rashid, what he just said here? Did you hear what he said? What he said here was mind-boggling. I'm serious. What Adnan Rashid said here is mind-boggling. So now I'm going to repeat the video. Pay attention closely to what he said.
If a liar comes to us with the news and he says Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq said,
he says, if a liar comes to us with a news. Then he says, Imam Jafar as-Sadiq says, now listen carefully. The reason why I'm paraphrasing or I'm repeating what he says is just so that you get the concept of what is being told. Some people will say, babashuaib, why is it that when you play video like this, you repeat what is being said? Even the Quran does it. It's just to place emphasis on what the person is saying so that you get it the way I'm trying to get you to get it. You understand? So that is why, for example, the Quran will say, Innama al-usru yusra. Then it says, fa innama al-usru yusra. You can see it is just placing an emphasis on the repetition just to get you to pay attention. You understand? So when I'm repeating it, I'm not saying my audience are dumb and foolish that they cannot understand. No, they can understand what the person is saying. But I just want you to get the understanding I'm getting so that you can see what the problem is. So that is why when you are listening, you listen and listen carefully. That's the point.
What if he said something nice?
No problem.
Now he says, when the liar comes and says, Jafar as-Sadiq says this, and then the questioner is asking, what if the liar says something nice? Now listen. Then Adnan says, no problem. That liar, what if he said something nice? He says, no problem. Okay.
Even if he said, Imam Jafar said, plant trees, feed the poor, feed.
Even if he says that Imam Jafar said, plant trees, feed the poor, feed the orphans.
The orphans, because what do the liars?
Even if he said, because these are good things, right? Plant trees, feed the poor, feed the orphans. These are good things, right? Now pay attention. This is what liars normally do. A liar will not tell you 100% lies. A liar, a professional liar, is the one who will mix the truth with lies. Because if he is just saying throughout lies, you will catch the lie. So he has to mix some truth to just make sense out of what is being said. So now check.
Liars do. Liars will not come and say something so stupid and erroneous.
Liars will not come and say something so stupid and erroneous, right?
Erroneous that you reject it straight away.
That you will reject it straight away. So what will they do?
What they will do is they will mix lies with.
So what they will do is they will mix lies,
truth. That's why.
With the truth. Quran chapter 2 verse 42. What is God telling you? وَلَا تَلْبِسُوا الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ وَتَكْتُمُوا الْحَقَّ وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Do not cover the truth with falsehood, or do not mix the truth with falsehood and conceal the truth while you know. Do not do that. So what does the hadith book does? Check.
When you mix urine with milk, we have.
Then he brought an analogy. He says, and that is why when you mix urine with what?
To reject all of it. Would you?
When you mix urine with milk, you have to reject all of it. He's asking the person, will you drink it? Yeah, Salam, King of Truth. Salam, Prime and Rose. Listen to what Adnan is saying. Will you drink it?
You drink that milk. If I drop one drop of urine in it, you will.
Will you drink that milk? If I drop just one drop of urine in the milk, will you drink it?
You will never drink it, because now.
You will never drink it, right? Does it sound similar to something I'm about to use against this bozo? Pay attention.
It's been contaminated.
He says, because the milk has now been contaminated because of this one drop of urine.
Muhaddithin, our ulama have taught.
Then he says, the muhaddithin, our ulama have taught us
When contamination
happens, which is that urine, one drop of urine, when it falls in that milk, listen.
Happens, you reject the whole thing.
When that happens, you reject the whole thing. That is what the muhaddithin told them. Hey.
In the science of hadith, unfortunately.
In the science of hadith, unfortunately, he didn't say fortunately, unfortunately.
Or fortunately, you
or fortunately again.
throw away the baby with the bathwater.
In the science of hadith, unfortunately and fortunately, you throw away the baby with the bath water.
Because it is a matter of your deen. You cannot.
Because it's a matter of your deen, your faith. You cannot just take it.
Not take your deen from liars and
You cannot take your deen from liars and untrustworthy
untrustworthy characters.
characters. These people don't listen to themselves. I'm serious. These people, they don't listen to themselves when they speak. No, they don't. I'm serious. Look, they don't listen to themselves. According to him, when one drop of the urine falls in the milk, you're not going to drink it. You throw it away, right? So this analogy, he brought it up, and he used it to coincide with what the Hadithiyoons have told them. That if there is one hadith which is contaminated, all the things that the person brought has to be thrown away. Do they do that? Contamination. But Imam Bukhari, out of how many hadiths he brought, he only chose about 6,000 to be using. Why don't you reject all of them? But you're still using some of them. So that is why Mohammed Hijab actually said this.
Imagine you got a million hadith. How many Sahih hadith do you reckon we have? And now we said about 10,000, by the way. Like most of the 95% of the hadith that are in the 6 books of hadith constitute what is authentic. What is authentic? So we've been so critical with the hadith that we've rejected 95% of them. We're the biggest hadith rejectors on the planet.
Muhammad Hijab, he helps to make the issue very easy. Do you see? They rejected 95% out of all the hadiths Imam Bukhari presented. And Muhammad Hijab confessed, but they are the biggest hadith rejectors on the planet. So if there is contamination, why are you still holding those books that cannot be trusted? Why? Can't you use your reasoning for once? Afala ta'qilun? Because God says in Quran chapter 4 verse 82, Afala yatadabbaruna al-Quran walau kana min indi ghayrillah lawajiduhu fihi ikhtilafan kathira. Do they not contemplate the Quran? Had it been from other than God, they would have found there in numerous discrepancies. So now you have books which is full of contradictions and lies attributed to the prophet. Even though you know it's a lie, you the mushriks, but you still want to give a blind eye. You're like, oh, it doesn't matter. This is not the only hadith. There's another hadith from Imam Bukhari. That one is Sahih. I go with that. Since this one is not Da'if now. Even if it is Sahih, it's a problem. Then why don't you throw it away? And hold on to the book of God, which doesn't have any contradictions. But you say, halas, no, we don't need that. So this is Adnan Rashid, the logic he has. So now let's go to another video of him to see another logic he has to present.
When Allah says in the Quran, we have revealed upon you dhikr, which you say is the Quran, so that you explain to people what has been revealed upon them. Where is that explanation of the Prophet?
This thing, I have actually written documents on this. I don't recall them all in my mind.
You have written documents and you don't recall.
Because
actually you don't believe in the information you're writing yourself.
Yes! Yes! Hell yeah!
Anything that would not have been the Quran, there was no authority for the messenger to add anything extra to it.
The Quran is not saying he's going to add extras. The Quran is saying you explain to them what Allah has revealed to them. That explanation, that information to understand the Quran better, where is it and is it authoritative?
That would require something, and I could send you a document on it. I don't have it all in my mind.
Okay, so you don't know, right? So you say, I don't know.
Okay. Now listen, this is what people like Adnan Rashid and then Mohammed Hijab, when they do this, then they go online to sit down and say, I have debated with a Quranist, I have faced a Quranist, I have faced a Quran alone follower, and I asked him questions he couldn't answer. Hey, you just go to speaker's corner, you just meet any random guy out there, you just ask few questions, and then you think you have done with the people who follow the Quran. When people like babashuaib are available for you to face, you leave me hanging. You don't want to encounter me, but you want to go to the streets and just find a random guy, you put it on your page, and then you say, oh, I defeated a Quranist. Hey, Adnan Rashid, let's check what he was saying.
Explain to me when Allah says in the Quran, we have revealed upon you dhikr, which you say is the Quran.
Now, what mushriks normally do is they quote verses out of context. They don't fulfill the context so that you get the gist of what is being said. This is what they do. So always when they take a verse, they trim the verse into pieces and then quote the part they want to interpolate their understanding so that they get you confused. And that's how they do. That's what they do. So now pay attention.
So that you explain to people what has been revealed upon them. Where
now, do you see the verse is quoting? Chapter 16, verse 44. The context starts from 43. You will never see a mushrik quoting from verse 43. Always they only quote 44. And then they trim it so that you don't get the context. Okay.
Allah says in the Quran, we have revealed upon you dhikr, which you say is the Quran, so that you explain to people what has been revealed upon them.
If you ask them what is the zikr, then they will say that is the sunnah or that is the hadith. So God of all people cannot say we have revealed to you the sunnah or we have revealed to you the hadith. God couldn't say that. So God is saying wa anzalna ilayka zikra. If you ask them where is the zikra, that is when the story starts.
Where is that explanation of the Prophet?
So now he's asking, where is that explanation of the Prophet?
I have actually written documents on this.
Then the guy he's talking to, who just went ahead straight, instead of saying at that time he doesn't have the answer, then he says, I have written document on it. Then he says, I don't
recall them all in my mind.
I don't recall them all by my mind. Then Adnan Rashid went ahead. Listen what he said.
You have written documents and you don't recall.
He says, you have written documents and you don't recall. It is normal, Adnan Rashid. Don't act like a bozo. Somebody can write something and they don't remember. How is it difficult for you to understand? I can write something down. I wrote it, but I might not remember something from it unless I go and cross-check again. So the guy was not wrong when he said he doesn't remember. What is wrong with this?
Because
actually you don't believe in the information you're writing yourself.
What does that got to do with belief? He says, actually, you don't believe in the information that you wrote down yourself. How the mushriks, how do your brain work? Seriously, your brains, how do they work? The guy only said he doesn't remember. He cannot recollect what he wrote. You go ahead to say he doesn't believe in what he wrote. That's not what the guy said? Oh.
Yes! Yes! Hell yeah!
Anything that would not have been the Quran, there was no authority for the messenger to add anything extra to it.
The guy was right. And anything that does not belong to the Quran, there is no authority to the messenger whatsoever that to add to something which doesn't belong to the Quran. The evidence is in Quran chapter 69, verse 43 to verse 46. Tanzilu min Rabbil Alameen. وَلَوْ تَكَوَّلَ عَلَيْنَا بَعْدَ الْأَقَاوِيلِ لَأَخَذْنَا مِنْهُ بِالْيَمِينِ ثُمَّ لَقَطَعْنَا مِنْهُ الْوَتِينَ. Simple.
The Quran is not saying he's going to add extras. The Quran is saying you explain to them what Allah has revealed to them.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a verse I've talking about several times. I have videos on it. Even my recent reply to this how do you call this boy? Prince Mushrik. I explained that point. When we say the zikra is found in Quran, inside the Quran, you go to chapter 38, verse 1. God says, Swad wal Quran zi zikr. So the zikr is contained in the Quran. So that's why God says in Quran chapter 54, verse 17, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلْذِكْرِ فَهَلْ مِنْ مُدَّكِّرٍ. So God has made يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلْذِكْرِ. God has made the Quran easy for the zikr. Yes. فَهَلْ مِنْ مُدَّكِّرٍ. Is there anyone of remembrance among you? You see the point. So now, when these people quote وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. They leave بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَالزُّبُرِ. Before that, they leave the verse above. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. They leave that one. Do you see the problem? They also leave that one. So they go straight ahead. Then they go وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ. Then they will now tell the people, God says the prophet should explain the Quran. Does he mention the Quran in that verse?
That explanation, that information to understand the Quran better,
Where does it say the prophet should add information or to add explanation? Tubayyina doesn't necessarily always mean explanation, but it is a word which has multiple meanings. Always you have to check the context in which a word is used to understand what is being said, to make something known to somebody. It can be also used bayyin.
is it and is it authoritative?
That would require something, and I could send you a document on it. I don't have it all in my mind.
So the guy says, I'll send you a document on it. I don't have it all in my mind. How is that a problem, Adnan Rashid? But obviously you were not there to find evidence from the guy. You were just there to just expose the guy that he doesn't know anything off head.
So you don't know, right? So you say, I don't know.
Then he goes ahead to say, oh, so you don't know. Guys, for those watching on TikTok, if I'm on TikTok, please let me know, because it says no connection. Okay, I'm back on TikTok. Yes, I'm back on TikTok. Yeah, J-Bon. Who is J-Bon? J-Bon, I don't know who you are. J-Bon, I don't know who you are. So why should I just make you a moderator? Who is the J-Bon? J-Bon, you said I should make you a mod. Why should I make you a moderator? Who are you? If you want a debate, contact me and let's set it up. Contact me. My number is there. You send me, then I have to access your brain and see if you are a normal human being before we can have a debate. I can't just have debates with every Dick, Tom, and Harry. So send your CV. Send me your CV. Let's have a discussion at the back channel. Then I can know at least you are a normal human being. I can't. I've learned my lesson when I did a dialogue with Ridwan. You guys, do you know Ridwan, the guy from Morocco? That's where I learned my lesson. I can't just have a discussion with every Dick, Tom, and Harry. When you are saying hello, hello, it's like as if the person is on a power bank. No, I can't do that. So please, if you are a normal human being, contact me in my inbox. Then I will call you directly. Then we have a conversation first. Then I will know, okay, you are a civilized person. Then we can have a discussion. I'm never running away from anybody, right? So don't come out of your stupidity and come to my page when I'm teaching wise people. Then you just come, I want a debate. I want a debate. Is that how it works? Can you just come and say, I want a debate? Debate over what? You come to me, you say, babashuaib, I heard you say so and so on a video. I want to counter argue with you on that. Fine, then I will assess your IQ, your brain. If I see your brain is fruitful a bit, we can have a fruitful discussion. Then yes, voila, we come on. Like when I did a video about the Ahmadis, the Ahmadis, when I spoke about Imam Mahdi, they have one of their brother. I think his name is if I remember, is it Hashim, something like that. He contacted me and say, babashuaib, I saw that you did a video on Imam Mahdi, and I am one of his companions. So can I have a discussion with you? I said, yes, we can have a discussion. You understand? When I spoke to him for about 5 minutes, I saw his composure. I noticed that he has some intellect in him. So I said, yes, we can have a discussion. Right? So he asked me if I'm available, that is tomorrow, right? On Thursday. I said, yes, I'm available. We can have a discussion. Right? So this is how I do. When I assess you and I see that you are okay in the head, yes, now I'll be willing to do a discussion with you. Right? Let's go to the next video.
I follow the guidance of the Quran.
Quran doesn't tell you where you place your hands.
Irrelevant.
That's very relevant. When you say Allahu Akbar,
I don't do that. People,
how
they
do you
like
pray?
this.
How do you pray?
I stand, recite Quran.
How do you stand?
If Allah gives a piece of information, that's all you need. Adding all these extra details, you're going backwards.
The Quran says establish prayer. How? Simple question. I pray like this. I've just demonstrated how I pray. How do you pray?
Stand.
How do you
bow.
stand? Can you show me? How do you stand and how do you bow and how do you?
I'm standing.
I just demonstrate. Look, this is simple.
Stand means stand. There's nothing else to it.
How do you stand? How do you start the prayer? Let's say you are now starting the prayer. How do you start the prayer? You see the difficulty now? There's a reason why you cannot answer this question, because you do not have a consistent standard to stand by. You are in trouble.
Now, this is again the way they ask questions. How do you pray? How do you pray? Tell me, how do you pray? This is a regular slogan. I would call it a slogan. That's another slogan they use. How do you pray? How do you pray? How do you pray? How do you pray? Show me, how do you pray? Tell me, how do you pray? Where does the Quran say how you should pray? The moment you are about to start answering, how many rakahs do you do? Tell me, where do you put your hands? What do you say when you are sitting down? This is a critical part of dealing with these bozos. So now listen, the way he was questioning the guy.
How do you pray?
How do you pray? They feel like they are in charge. They're like they have some authority to ask you this question always. This is what they do. How do you pray? Because they've been told the most important aspect of Islam is the prayer. That's what they've been told from their hadith books. So that is why Hoblos said, so far as you play, if you pray, you are. If you don't pray, sorry, he says, if you don't pray, you are worse than a murderer. You are worse than a rapist. You are worse than a drug dealer. You are worse than any. He mentioned it all. He says, if you don't pray, you are worse than all this. Do you get my point? Now, he asked the guy, how do you pray? Now listen.
Follow the guidance of the Quran.
Quran doesn't tell you where you place your hand.
The guy says, I follow the guidance of the Quran. Then straightforward, Adnan Rashid says, the Quran doesn't tell you where to place your hand. You see, mushriks need to have a separate book of common sense and IQ, like common sense, a separate book that has to teach them how to use their brains. Mushriks, they need that. I'm serious. It says, where do you place your hands? I place it on my head. Allah mushrikaga. Oh no, no.
Irrelevant.
That's very relevant. When you say Allahu Akbar,
I don't do that.
So the guy asked him, that's irrelevant. Then he said, that is very relevant. So imagine the day of judgment, God is asking you, hey, when you stand, where did you put your hands? When you were standing in the prayer, where did you put your hands? Somebody says, I put it on my neck. Somebody says, I put it in my armpit. Hey, Adnan Rashid, you said it is relevant. Hey. Hey.
how do you pray? How do you pray?
He repeated the question 3 times. How do you pray? How do you pray? Hey. To them, this is the biggest question. They think that is a very, very, very big question. Hey. Daddy Alisha says, wanna chill in babashuaib's Quran school in Ghana for a year. This will come to pass, inshallah. It will be a dream come true. Now let's go to how do you pray. Hey, Salis Jimmy, I see you. Dagan Salis Jimmy. Yes, they expose their stupidity. That's how it is.
I stand, recite Quran.
How do you stand?
Oh my God. The guy says, I stand, recite the Quran. Let him finish answering. Now he says, how do you stand? So ladies and gentlemen, how do you stand? Somebody will stand like this. maybe there's somebody who has to stand like He's asking the guy, how do you stand? Hey! Like, what baffles me is that the mushriks, they think they have authority when they ask you questions. So they can be asking the dumbest of questions and then they still think they are making sense. The guy says, I stand and recite. You ask him, how do you stand? No, please, how does a person stand? With one leg or how? Let me go back.
How do you pray? How do you pray?
How do you pray? Now the guy is answering the question. Listen carefully. How do you pray? The guy says, I stand and I recite the verses. He didn't let the guy finish explaining. Now look.
Stand, recite Quran.
How do you stand?
How do you stand? And these people will go ahead. How do you pee? How do you eat? How do you sleep with your wife? How do you poop? This is the kind of question mushriks will ask. And this guy has the audacity to share this video on his page, Adnan Rashid. He even shared this video on his page. Hey! Yeah, and then they'll go ahead to ask you, how do you do istinja? They don't have common sense. So all these things, Hadith has to teach them how to stand. Hadith has to teach the mushriks how to stand, how to pee, how to eat. Hey!
Allah gives a piece of information, that's all you need.
So the guy says, God gave a piece of information and that's all you need. Now listen to Adnan Rashid.
All these extra details, you're going backwards.
If you are asking for all these extra details, you are going backwards. So now listen what Adnan said.
Quran says establish prayer.
So the Quran says establish prayer. Now what?
How?
Then he says how. The guy was explaining to you what he does. The how. You ask him, how do you pray? Let him finish answering. Notice, mushriks will never let you finish explaining yourself. Have you ever watched my debates or my discussions with anybody, with any mushrik? You try your best. Listen to my discussions or go to the correctional officer's den. Listen to my correctional officer's den discussions with the mushriks. Look, when you are explaining yourselves, they don't want you to explain. They will stop you along the way. Yes. Because they are always looking for the authority to ask questions. They don't want to be questioned back. If you want to enjoy how babashuaib has discussion with the mushriks, when I finish this, you come on TikTok. I'll be there for like 1.5 hours, 2 hours. Come and see when the mushriks come and hop on, how they try to avoid being questioned, but they want to ask questions. Because they've always been taught as if they are in charge of Islam and they have the authority. So they just only want to bombard you with questions and they don't want to answer questions. So that is why Adnan was looking for that authority. He kept bombarding the guy, but because the guy doesn't have the intellect in terms of having dialogues, so the guy was just being submissive to the questions being thrown at him. He has to turn the tables around. And that is what babashuaib have mastered throughout the years against these mushriks. Learn to twist the table around. You just have to say, hey, hold on, wait a minute. I'll be answering you these questions. Why do you keep bombarding me with questions? Let me answer you the next question. And let me ask you the next question. That is where you will see their heebie-jeebies starting to offload.
Simple question. I pray like this.
Look, he asked the guy, how do you pray? The guy was explaining, right? He kept interrupting. Now look, he says simple question. I pray like this. Look what Adnan did.
I've just demonstrated.
See, is that how Sunnis pray? You just like this, do like this, and do like this. Is that the prayer? Because when you stood like this, you didn't say anything. Adnan Rashid, what is wrong with you the bozus? I don't get you. When you did this, you did this. What did you were you even reciting anything? No, because Buhari told you to keep silent. Yeah, they have a silent salat where you don't recite anything the daytime. You only have to recite it silently. That is the Zuhur and the Asr. Buhari gave them. Yes, that's their God. He gave them that one. So now check when he says, how do you pray? Listen here.
Simple question. I pray like this. I've just demonstrated how I pray.
He says, I've just demonstrated how I pray. Allah, these guys, I'm serious, they have to check their IQs. I'm serious, before they even have any public discussion or any public utterances. I'm serious. Hey.
How do you pray?
Stand.
How do you stand? Can you show me?
You're asking the guy, how do you pray? He's just telling you, stop interrupting. How do you pray? Stand. The guy says, I stand. He says, how do you pray? Show me. Did you show the guy how you pray? Yeah. Hey, Adnan Rashid, if correctional officer gets you, you the kind of people. Allah, you see.
How do you stand and how do you bow and how do you?
How do you stand?
I'm standing.
I just demonstrate.
The guy says, I'm standing. You ask him, how do you? He says, I'm standing. How do you want him to stand? With one leg? Hey. Allah,
Look, this is simple.
Stand means stand. There's nothing else.
Stand means stand. Now, what do you want the guy to do? Somebody says sound of the video is so high. That is the moderate volume. I think the sound was from him where I took the video. Is very high. It's just the normal volume standard I set, right?
How do you stand? How do you start the prayer? Let's say,
guys, it's a less than 1 minute video. Did you see how many questions Adnan was asking the guy? Did you notice that? A lot of questions. Now this is how mushriks think they are entitled to be asking you questions always.
you are now starting the prayer. How do you start the prayer? You see the difficulty now?
Adnan, you confuse the guy because the guy was showing you what he does. You keep interrupting, asking him the next question, next question, next question, next question. Now that when the guy was lost of words, you just said, oh, receipt, because this is what they look for always. They want to keep asking you questions till you become flabbergasted, till you are just seized up. Then they will say, aha, you see, ahi, you don't have the answer. This is how they've been trained, and this is how their bozos also follow their footsteps.
The reason why you cannot answer this question, because you do not have a consistent standard to stand by. You are
Mushriks, do we have consistent standard? You the mushriks, you even fight over hand. You the mushriks, you fight over this posture. Some imam says don't do this. Some imam says don't put this hand on this. Some imam says don't do like this. Some imam says don't do this. Some imam says if you do this it's haram. Some imam says no, don't bring it down. It has to be here. Some imam says don't take it to the neck. Some imam says don't stand straight. Some imam says yeah, you can stand like that straight with the hand. Hey! Allah
are in trouble.
Now he's telling the guy you are in trouble. When you can go to the extent to ask somebody, how do you stand? That become a problem. That's the biggest trouble ever. Let me play the last video from him, Adnan. The last video from Adnan.
See with your wife, do you have a bath after it?
I do ghusl.
Why?
Because it says ghusl al-Quran.
It doesn't say after the intimacy with your wife. Show me now in the Quran where it says you have to have ghusl after intimacy with your wife. Show me.
It doesn't.
Show me. Why do you have ghusl then?
Because you should clean any part.
No, you have ghusl after.
You're working backwards.
No.
You cannot say we do this. We don't find it in the Quran.
This is what we call hypocrisy at its peak. You are doing things that are from Hadith and you don't believe in it. You don't believe in something, you start practicing it.
Ladies and gentlemen, see, if not because of the hadith, I never knew when you have intimacy with your wife, you need to bath. I never knew. Adnan Rashid just made me know. He's so wise. I never knew if you have intimacy with your wife, you need to shower. Until the advent of the hadith. I think only the hadith taught the mankind how to do that. This guy is waiting for the Quran to actually say something on that. So I guess the Quran is had to even teach us how to use the spoon to feed our kids. Listen to the question he's asking the guy.
If you've had intimacy with your wife, do you have a bath after it?
What kind of question is this? If you have intimacy with your wife, he's asking, do you have a bath afterwards? Now, what kind of question is this? Like, seriously, he's asking, if you have intimacy with your wife, do you have a bath afterwards? If you say yes, then he says, where did the Quran show you how to have the bath? So now check.
Do ghusl.
Why?
Because it's.
So the guy went ahead and said, I do ghusl, meaning I wash. You can say the ghusl can be bath. You can take it at the bath or wash, right? To wash up. So that's what the guy says. I wash. Now he asks the guy, why?
It says ghusl al-Quran.
It doesn't.
Then the guy says, ghusl is in the Quran. Now he's going to confuse the guy. Yes, ghusl is in the Quran. Yes, ghusl is in the Quran. God just told the wise people, you just need to just take a bath. God says that. Look, Quran chapter 4, verse 43. And I put it on the screen to show you something. Like these guys, they choose their opponents carefully so that they can play around with the person's conscience to make the person think he doesn't know anything. But it's just a simple issue. Oh, you who believe, do not approach the salat while you are intoxicated until you know what you are saying, nor unclean, unless traversing the road until you have washed. The wash can be bath or to cleanse yourself, which is tagtasilu, to take a bath, right? Or then it says, but if you are sick or on a journey, or one of you comes from the toilet, or have touched the women and cannot find water, because after I touch a woman, I need to find a water to wash myself. Because God is talking to wise people, not bozos like Adnan Rashid. So then God says, He gave you the criteria, the options. This is it on the screen. He says, "Oh, you who believe, do not approach the salat while you are intoxicated until you know what you are saying," which is very essential. When you are doing your salat, you need to know what you are telling God, or what you are saying, or what you are reciting, right? Then he says, "Nor unclean." If you are unclean, junuba, don't go for the salat. You have to, you understand, wash up. Unless traversing, meaning you are still traveling. You are unclean, but you are still traveling along the way going. Unless you are traversing the road until you have washed, that is to take a bath. So when you take a bath, you can go for the salat. If you haven't taken a bath, don't go, because you are unclean still. Then God says, but because if God says take a bath, He's talking to wise people. He knows wise people will take a bath with water. Who will take a bath with blood? Why take a blood? Because blood is contaminated. It's pollution. So which wise person will use the blood to bath? So He says, you are until you have washed, because He knows the wise people will use water to wash. Quran is not talking to fools. Then He says, but if you are sick, number one, or on a journey, number two, or one of you comes from the toilet, number three, or you have touched the women, meaning sexually. When He says touch, not like just like a touching like this. No, we are talking about sexual touching. Just like Maryam, when she told the angel, "How can I have a boy when no man has touched me?" Chapter 19, you can start reading from verse 20, 21, thereabout. It says, "Walam yamsasini bashar," right? No man has touched me. So the touching is not about like touching like this. It's about sexually to have a copulation with a woman. So now, if you have touched a woman, then He says, and cannot find water, because you will need water to keep yourself clean. That is how to take the bath. So when Adnan Rashid asked the guy, the ghusl, he says the ghusl is in the Quran. It is in the Quran. What Adnan Rashid was expecting is God will now start speaking to us as if He's speaking to daycare nursery kids and say, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to start bathing, go to the washroom. When you go to the washroom, take your water with your right hand. If you take it with your right hand, pour it on your right side, wash it 3 times, and then pour it on the left side, wash it 3 times, and then put some on your back, and then take the scrub, and then start scrubbing your back, and then come to the front. You make sure there's no dirt. You go like this. If that is how the Quran has to keep telling us everything, we'll be reading 1,000 books before we get guidance. Hey, mushriks. So in a nutshell, the guy was telling him, the ghusl is in the Quran. Now look what Adnan was telling the guy.
Intimacy with your wife. Show me now in the Quran where it says you have to have ghusl after intimacy with your wife.
Bozos. They are bozos. I'm serious. They don't know the Quran.
Show me.
It doesn't.
Show me. Why do you have ghusl then?
Because you should clean any part.
No,
You should clean any part. When you are, oh my gosh, when you go to shower, it's not about cleanliness. You are cleaning yourself. That's why we go to shower. Why do we go to shower? To do what?
have ghusl after
You're working backwards. You cannot say we do this. We don't find it in the Quran.
This is what we call hypocrisy.
Now he is rather telling the guy, this is what we call hypocrisy. Adnan, you are telling the guy, this is what we call hypocrisy. How is it hypocrisy? The guy says it's in the Quran. It's there. If If you have a wise kid at home and you tell him in the morning, go and brush your teeth. Listen carefully. Listen to me, babashuaib. If you have a wise kid at home and you tell the kid, go and brush your teeth. I do it to my daughter. When she wakes up, I say, go and brush your teeth. I don't add the word, use water and wash your face. I don't add all these words. I just tell my daughter, go and brush your teeth. I swear to God, when my daughter goes, she knows she has to use water. She will use water before putting the toothpaste on the brush, and then because she's wise. When she finishes, she put water in the hand, and then she takes the, you don't understand, out. The Quran is meant for intelligent people, the wise people. How do you expect God to speak to wise people?
Speak. You are doing things that are from Hadith and you don't believe in it.
That are from, the guy literally says it's in the Quran. You are saying they are from the Hadith. So now Hadith has to teach us how to bath after copulating with our spouses. Hey. So ladies and gentlemen, please, the parents of Prophet Muhammad, before they gave birth to Muhammad, when they did the deed and gave birth to Muhammad, so they never knew how to wash. Because that is what this guy is trying to let us understand, that it is the Hadith which has to teach you how to wash after having copulation with your partner.
You don't believe in something, you start practicing it. If
you don't believe in something, you start practicing it. The guy never said he's practicing Hadith. Oh, now I know officially. Adnan Rashid is a bozo. Officially. He's a bozo. Officially. Another bozo detected in UK. So Adnan Rashid is a bozo. Mohammed Hijab is a bozo. Mushrik Lantern. I did Mushrik Lantern, right? Mushrik Lantern is somewhat a bit civilized. I've not seen his bozoness fully yet. And Mushrik Lantern, I'll be doing a program on him again because I have to tackle the last video he did on the Hadith rejectors. So embrace yourself. I might tackle him next week. Yes, I'm going to do him woto. It's called woto season. Yeah, Mushrik Lantern, be prepared. I know you know me. So I'm coming for you also. Right? When you face my brother Muhammad, what you did is you try to trim the video, edit the video anyhow to suit your needs. Don't worry, babashuaib will get all of you one by one. Woto season is coming. I will do you woto. Inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the correctional officer babashuaib. I just tackled some instance about Mohammed Hijab and then tackled Adnan Rashid. By the way, Adnan Rashid and Mohammed, they are friends, right? They are friends. That's why I put them together to tackle them. So whoever didn't watch the program from the beginning, try to watch it. I've done almost 2 hours of the program. I'm going to TikTok to be there for like 2 hours before I go. Kindly join me on TikTok if you have time. I can tolerate about 2 calls. I still have like 9 minutes to 2 hours. So let me tolerate some few calls before I go. About 2 callers can do just fine, right? So this is my phone number down there on the screen. That's my number on the screen. +358 466 803144 is below on the screen. You can call to ask your question before I go, right? So kindly follow up with your question before I go. I'm going to TikTok soon. I just have 9 minutes to go. So let's make this 9 minutes useful. My TikTok name is the same as what I'm using on Facebook and YouTube. It's the same handle. The name I'm using here is the same name you find me on TikTok, right? Yes, Salam, your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Kama. I'm from Canada. I already called you.
You called me when?
Yeah, I called you in one of your programs.
Okay, you called me before. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, before, yeah. How are you?
Oh,
I hope that you're fine.
I'm doing good, brother. Alhamdulillah. How about you?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So I wanted to request a dialogue. I don't so I wanted to know exactly. I know that the discussion that maybe that we're having will take a long time. So maybe if I can request a dialogue, so what I have to do for that?
A dialogue with who?
With you.
To have a dialogue with you?
Yeah.
Over
if
what?
You can, if it's possible. Yeah, it is over. So I recently watched your playlist. Yeah, and again I found it very insightful and I benefited it a lot. But however, I noticed some points where I believe there might be some misunderstandings. It is a playlist on about salat, so about the salat root word and the flowing closely. So even though I am more in line with your definition of what is salat is again, so I did want to maybe you and me sometimes we can discuss about it and trying to
we can have a conversation, a phone call where we can talk about that.
Oh.
Because if you
Okay,
say
okay.
the moment you say let's have a dialogue, it's like you are just an opposition. You're opposing what I have to say, and then we have to go back and forth. When you say dialogue, that is how it sounds to me. So you have to say we just have to have a discussion. If we have to have a discussion,
no. It's not a debate. It's not a debate that I want. Even a dialogue. It is just an extension of point of view. But I'm not requesting a debate. I'm just requesting a discussion. So yeah.
Okay,
so yeah,
I understand your point. So what you do is,
Yeah.
when we finish this conversation, you send me a message. I'll book a time for you. I'll book a time where I'm available, then we can have the talk. Normally, when people want to talk to me, they ask me when they can have a conversation. Then I give them the time when I can call you or you can call me. So usually I have time. These are the days I usually have discussions with people on phone, like privately. Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays. These 3 days, normally I'm available in the night to talk to people. So on those days, one of those days, I can give you a timing where we can talk on those days, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So let's do it that way. As soon as we finish, send me a message so I can remember that I have a conversation with you, because I do have a lot of messages normally to read. So
I know.
it becomes difficult for me to go through.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. So thank you, brother. I appreciate your support.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and I'm really grateful and in depth, and I'm really in a lot of depth because because of what you are doing.
Thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate that.
So yeah, thanks.
I appreciate. God bless you. We keep in touch, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah. Wa alaikum.
So Adam A says, Salam, love your content. Could you explain to us when did the transition from Quran only to Quran plus Hadith happen historically? Thank you. These transitions, I think it happened during the Abbasid, Umayyads, and during, when you check through the history, you consider those times are what the Hadith evolved. But I was talking to one brilliant sister, and she brought my attention to one of the documentaries she watched concerning a particular coin which was found in the time of the Abbasids. I think the Umayyads and the Abbasids, and it had Ashhadu Allah ilaha illallah only, la sharika lahu on it. It doesn't have wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan on it. And that instance proved to her that the Ashhadu Allah ilaha illallah alone, it shows that those people were even sticking with the Quran and not the Hadith books, because the concept of the Hadith books are the ones adding the wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abdu wa rasuluhu. You understand? So historical issues, I don't want to base my Islamic knowledge on those historical references, because sometimes they can be a lot of interpolations and confusions within them, right? So that is why I like to stick in the context of the Quran to speak about history, not outside the Quran, right? So Hannah, So let me see. Hannah says, Baba, just to alarm you, J-Born Mushrik is on here sexually harassing women, first Freda, then me. Who is it? J-Born. Let me give him a timeout. Yeah, so J-Born is on timeout. He's just there harassing the ladies. We don't need such imposters here. So long. Bye-bye. Thank you to the brother who sent me the gift earlier. Oh, I didn't tag the brother. There's a brother who sent me a gift. I forgot his name. Is it W something? I forgot. I apologize, brother, for not actually tagging your name because I was speaking about something important. So it escaped me when you. Okay, I found it. It was Wazir Akbar Khan. Thank you for sending me the gift. He gave me the gift. Thank you for all those who sent me the gift. God bless you. I appreciate the support. God bless you all. This is where I bring the topic to an end. I've done 2 hours of the program. Kindly join me on TikTok, right? To have an extensive discussion because I'll be talking to sectarians. If they are here, we'll be having an extended conversation. So I'll be there for like 2 hours before I go. So kindly join me. Yes, Israel Young Lion. Yes, the new stock should be available by next week. Yes, the new stock is coming next week. So whoever has placed a pre-order, who has made a pre-order, you should be expecting your copies to be shipped to you by next week, inshallah. So kindly anticipate. Thank you for the support. God bless you all. I appreciate your support, all of you. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is babashuaib, the correctional officer. I bring the topic to an end after dealing with the bozos from UK. This is what we have, and people think these are the learned people out there. Correctional officer, my job is just to expose these bozos for you to see how confused they are, that they are empty-headed and nothing to offer to you, right? They have nothing sensible. Yeah, Abdul Samad, I see you. Thank you for the support. Thank you all. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to have fun, join me on TikTok. Daffy Logs, yes, your first time of seeing me on live. Thank you for coming. We have Rabat, Hannah Banana, Okami-chan. I know a lot of you will be joining me on TikTok, so kindly join me there before everything comes to an end. But I'll be having a discussion with this brother tomorrow. That's Ahmadi, one of his companions. We'll be having a discussion. I don't know if it's on TikTok, but whatever be the case, I'll share it, or I'll have the copy where I'll share it. And I'm also expecting a program with brother Omar Zaid. We have a program coming up, I think, on Friday. So I'll make myself available for that, inshallah. So thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. This is babashuaib, the correctional officer. Thank you for your time. Real Mishizi Sniper, Omar Rahmani, Israel Young, Tariq Ayub. Thank you all. Mansoor, brother Mansoor, I see you. Azan Bukhari. Yes, I see you all. Shaheen Sam, I know all of you will be joining me on TikTok. Thank you for your time. This is where I say peace be upon you. I'm out.